Hey everybody, here's an HP Pavilion part system I acquired from the Computer Works store today, and this one here is kind of unique in a way. I'll explain why. Let's first take a look at this AMD sticker here. You see it says AMD 64 Live, so you would assume that this has an AMD processor inside. Well, the truth is, it does not. Anyways, I'll get to that in just a moment. Anyways, this is probably like a 2007 through 2008 HP Pavilion. This is the kind of case they used during that time frame. It's a rather nice design, I would say. As you can probably tell, the front bezel has seen its better days. Both these doors, well, the top door isn't doing so well. The bottom door is okay, but this top one isn't doing well at all. Surprisingly, I haven't sliced my handle that yet while handling this thing. But anyways, now for the interesting part. Paid $20 for it, and let's go and show you a look inside. You're going to find some strange things here. Just like you saw that AMD sticker on the front, and I mentioned this thing does not have an AMD processor inside. Well, that's because somebody has swapped out the motherboard in this system. And no, it's not a retail board, or at least I don't think anyway. It looks like another board, OEM for HP. Strange it is, as it is, that's what it seems. Got your Asus cooler, pretty typical for HP and compact computers. Since they get their boards from Asus, I guess they also get their heatsinks from Asus. I see it very commonly. It's an Intel platform. Notice the 4 screws. This is an Intel 775. So I have no idea what CPU is in this one. We know it's an Intel. It could be a Celeron D, it could be a Pentium D, Pentium dual core, Core 2 Duo. You never know. And look at the power supply that's in this thing. Yeah, it's the Bestech ATX 25012Z. So yeah, this is being powered by a 250 watt supply. And we have not one but 2 SATA adapters, because they're having to adapt a 2002 compliant power supply to run a 2008 computer or 2007 computer. So I imagine with this configuration it was pushing this power supply probably to its max. The power supply does seem to work. And okay, now with that being said, let's go and show you how it acts. Yes, I plugged it in, tested it today because I already had memory installed. It has a gig of RAM, 2 512 megabyte sticks, DDR2. So that being said, let's go ahead and plug it up and let me show you what it does. And it acts pretty strange, to be honest with you. It may be the power supply causing it, though I don't know. Move this out of the way. I just parted out that Acer system about a minute or two ago. Let's go ahead and plug this up and let me go ahead and show you how this thing acts. It's really strange. And if I can't get it to work, I'll part it out on video to show you what we have here. Just gonna plug up a few things. And last but not least, the power supply. And of course we have the green LED indicating the power supply is getting power. Now, a common problem with these Bestech power supplies is, and I'm not talking about the 25012E that actually kills motherboards, but with these particular power supplies that use IC 5V standby designs, they tend to have capacitors fail just like the 25012E. However, this one does not hurt the motherboard, though it will cause the power supply to act strange. Usually the most common symptom will be a flashing light. But anyways, here's the strange symptom this computer shows. Press the power button, watch the fan. System cuts off. But wait, it cuts back on. All by itself. I didn't press that button. And it cuts off. And it turns on again. Let's watch the power LED. It cut off. It's back on again. Cut off again. Very strange. So, first thing I'll do is I'm going to try a different power supply, just to rule it out as a potential problem. I mean, there's no telling what CPU we have here. It could be a Core 2 Duo. And without the hard drive and stuff installed, a 250 watt supply should be able to run that. I mean, it's a basic setup like this, without the hard drive and stuff, it should run. But as a common practice with me, I try to test things out just to be sure. Connectors in are tight. Hard to get to because of the slanted fan or the angled fan. There. Now that's out of the way. Plug up my test supply. We know it works. Getting wires mixed up here. Let's get that CPU power connector plugged in. Alrighty, now we can test this thing again and see what it does now with the testing supply hooked up. Get this thing plugged in. Okay, test supply is hooked up. Let's see what happens this time. Same thing. It cuts on and off all on its own. This is definitely strange behavior right here. So the power supply there is fine. Not the power supply's fault. So I'll go and revert my changes and we'll go ahead and troubleshoot further. Okay, I returned the system back to its prior configuration, and I also jumpered the green and black wires on the main connector for about a minute or so, and now the system behaves differently. Still nothing on the screen, but have a look at this. I'll unplug the power supply. It discharged, so plug it back in. Now watch this. Cuts off. Cuts back on. But this time it stays on. What I do is hit scroll lock and up to test my KVM switch, make sure it wasn't that. And it's not. North bridge heatsink is very slightly warm. South bridge heatsink is fairly hot. I'm supposing this board may have got hit by a power surge. In the previous part system of the Acer, I believe what happened to it was the chipset overheated from improper cooling. But anyways, it seems that in this system the motherboard is also dead. But got a gig of RAM. See, 2 512 sticks of DDR2. One here, one installed. In other case, to plant in a working motherboard. Now for the fun part. Seeing that it does not work, I'm going to unplug it. And let's see what kind of CPU is under that heatsink. I'm curious here. Obviously it's not AMD because the board's been replaced. But you know what's really funny is I believe within the past year, I seriously believe I may have seen this system get sold by ComputerWorks. I think somebody bought it and then they redonated it or something. I don't know for sure, but anyways, I can't remember for sure, but let's go ahead and take that heatsink off and see what kind of processor's on this board. Never know what we have here. It could be a Celeron D, hopefully not, or hopefully it could be a Core 2 Duo or a Pentium dual core. Something half decent. Though the only downside is I have a bunch of AMD boards, but pretty much not any Intel boards, at least for 775, that support these newer processors. Perhaps, let's say, was there a CPU installed at all in this system? Now that's a good question. Because it's coming right off. The heatsink is anyway. Yeah, there's a CPU. I did actually buy a system from ComputerWorks one time that did not have the processor installed, but did have a heatsink. Alright. Let's see what we have here. Pentium dual core. A pretty nice find. Not as nice as a Core 2 Duo, but still, Pentium dual core is better than nothing. Practically a Core 2 Duo, which is less cash. I'd say pretty nice find there. Battery's getting low, so camera might stop recording, but there's a good focus there. Pentium dual core, E2180, 2.8 gigahertz. I'd say a decent find. But unfortunately the board is bad, so not the first time I've seen this particular model of board fail. I actually had to replace one of these boards about a couple years ago. I think it was the same model of board, or it may have been a very close similar one. It's a shame, but still, for $19.99, I believe I paid for this one. Yep. Still say I got my money's worth. But anyways, any questions or comments, feel free to ask, and thanks for watching.